We are joined by the typically shy and retiring Sonny Edwards. How are you, Sonny?
Yeah, I can't complain. Things going well. Boxing life, personal life, family, everything. So can't complain about too much.
Now let me take you back a little bit towards the end of last year. A sequence of events happened for you. First was the Ryan Farag fight, which was a standout performance, an absolute masterclass. Then yourself and your girlfriend had a child. Then you fought Junior Granados, were placed on your backside for the first time, suffered an injury, but also won the fight. So, I mean, it's quite an end of the year for you.
Well, just to correct you,
and your brother became a world champion.
Just to correct you, she's not my girlfriend, you know what I mean? So, don't put that wrong impression out there. But, no, in all seriousness, it was hectic. I had a kind of frustrating year, me and Charlie both did, and then got the Farag opportunity to headline on Box Nation. Took it with both hands, and then I was offered, I say last minute, 4.5 weeks notice to fight Granados. I originally accepted a fight with Charlie Hoy, that's who was offered. I don't know what happened, I never cared to ask, but then the next day that weren't on the card, but Granados was, and I took it. I knew it was dangerous, and that's what I wanted. I said I want a proper fight. If I'm on this card, I want a proper fight, and get a fight that at least a few people know. And really, my Farag fight was getting me out there a lot more. But the Granados was to prove to my management team, my promotional team, that I am actually the real deal. Because then they can have a lot more confidence that I'm not just a mouthpiece that's calling for these fights. That when I actually get put into the ring, I can actually deliver. And then obviously I had my baby 10 days before my Granados fight. Spent 2 days in hospital. You know what I mean? It wasn't the best prep. I only did 2 spars for that as well, 2 or 3 spars. And then a week later, Charlie won his world title. So it was just a great end to the year for the whole family. Like, we ended on such a buzz. Baby's first Christmas, and then the little full stop of it was I suffered an injury when I went down in that Granados fight. I ruptured 2 ligaments in the second round, but you know what I mean, I still got through it, and adrenaline got me through it. And then I had 8 weeks out of doing absolutely nothing. I was on crutches for 4 weeks in a boot. Picked it back up now, and I'm ready and raring to go. I've already done 8-round spars, 6-round spars, hitting every track sessions. No, I'm flying already. I'm way ahead of schedule.
You wouldn't have known you picked up an injury in that fight because you were still doing your Strictly Come Dancing lark on the canvas, weren't you?
I think you could be excused to not realise. I boxed southpaw a lot anyway, but for the next few rounds I was mainly southpaw. And then I remember a comment got made by either Barry or Alex, that the commentary team, that when I was in orthodox I was looking a bit more vulnerable, and that was bang on because, like I said, my right leg went, and obviously I'm quite a back foot boxer, but I'm in and out, I'm quite springy, and I couldn't, from orthodox, I couldn't really push out because I didn't have my back leg. So then when I sort of just leant on my back leg or southpaw, I could get out a lot easier. That's why we stayed there. But yeah, like I said, I knew it hurt as soon as I got up. I sat down for the first time in my whole life in the third round. Even that happened in the second. I tried to sit down in the third, but it was nice for the minute. But when I got back up, it was double the pain. So I just kept on going through, and there wasn't a moment in me feeling sorry for myself. There wasn't a moment in me feeling I want to get out of here, because that's not in me. That's not bred in me. I've been doing this for 14 years. I didn't fall into boxing and just, this is all I want to do. So it's going to take a lot more than 2 ruptured ligaments to see me looking for a way out. I'd rather get absolutely cleaned out, laying unconscious, than look for a way out, because it's hard.
So how was it getting chinned for the first time?
I don't really remember it, to be honest. Now, do you know what it was? The first round was easy, comfortable, and before I got put down, I was dominating the round. I sort of upped the gear for such. The commentary was like, Sonny said he's not going to stand there and trade with Granados, but this is what he's doing. Because he was just there to hit, and I got a bit carried away. And then after that, it woke me up, and I think I lost around 10-9 on all the judges' scorecards, even though I got put down, because the rest of the round I dominated, to be honest. And yeah, I had a couple of thoughts coming through my head, and the first one was that Adrian Broner, when he was like, he can hit, do you know what I mean? Like, and then I realised, and I thought, Jesus, now I've got to up it now. Do you know what I mean? I can't. Just thought I speak way too much bullshit to, pardon my French, to, do you know what I mean? Not.
Yeah, there might have been a few comebacks online, mightn't there?
Yeah, and you know, the way I portray myself and I put myself out there, I expect it. Do you know what I mean? And that's why it never gets to me. I could lose in this next fight, touch wood I don't, and I'll still keep the same confidence. I know what ability I can operate at, what ability I have been operating at, and like the level I can reach if I fulfill my potential and stay on the path I'm on. So A loss isn't the end of the world. My brother's proved that. Many great fighters have proved that. That's why I carry such confidence, because if you have such a resounding idea that a loss is the end, then you've got that fear, and fear is very restricting, and I haven't got that fear. That's why I fight anyone. That's why I took Farag when everyone said it was a risk. That's why I took Granados at 4.5 weeks notice when everyone said it was a risk. And that's why this fight I was offered a 6 or 8 rounds, like a rollover fight. Didn't want it. 10-round title fight, or don't bother messaging me to fight. Do you know what I mean? And I wanted I was going to go straight into a proper fight, proper opponent. But originally it was meant to be 30th of April. My trainer would have been away for that, so we picked an opponent. It's an international opponent. He's only got 1 defeat. I think they're going to announce it later. Portuguese lad. And then I want a big fight in summer. I don't want to wait around at this level. I'm there, keep the momentum going, and keep flying.
You got a new target on your horizon now, haven't you? I've noticed Tommy Frank from your adopted city of Sheffield seems to be on your radar.
Well, like I said before, he stepped into the "You've got something Sonny wants" club. Do you know what I mean? And that's that Commonwealth title. It wasn't a title that I was too asked about before, but the fight pairs with the title, and that's how it is. Same way when I won the WO European against Ross Murray, it didn't really mean that much to me because of the opponent. When I defended it against Farag, that's validated the title for me personally. That's my mentality. Might be right, might be wrong. People say, well, you had that title anyway, but then all of a sudden it's a proper title to me. WO International the same with Granados, a proper opponent, proper fights, and it makes it a proper title. But yeah, Tommy Frank's the 3rd ranked in Britain. I'm ranked 2nd. Cal Yafai is ranked number 1. The fight makes more sense than anything. It could happen in Sheffield. Obviously, in my ideal world, a BT show will pop up in Sheffield. Me and Tommy Frank on top of it, in like Pons Forge are saying. There's a few Sheffield and Yorkshire signed Frank Warren fighters. I don't think that's a million miles away.
No harm in putting it out there, is there?
No harm in putting it out to the universe, you know what I mean? And if not, I know it's about 6 weeks after I'm fighting 27th of April, but Kid Galahad, Josh Warrington, he's from Sheffield, he does well with tickets. I've got a decent following, especially up in Sheffield as well. If not, it can happen. But if it doesn't happen, there's reasons why people are going to find out sooner rather than later. If it doesn't happen, it's because they don't want to fight. They're speaking confidently, saying there's only one winner, and we've sparred a few times, and there's a lot of respect for Tommy. He's a good fighter and a very nice lad. But like I said, once he stepped into the "you've got something I want" zone, then he can't be my friend like that.
A press release seemed to suggest they were hedging their bets a little bit.
Yeah, they seem confident. Dennis Hobson hasn't seen us spar, his son has, and they've always been very respectful to me and very giving praise every time I sparred. There's been little audiences every now and then, and just like the Farag situation, I don't need to speak too much on sparring because it is different. It's irrelevant to some point, but I will carry hell of a lot of confidence, take it from the spars, when you get the sort of the gist of what's going on. And I personally don't think I lost any rounds when I was sparring them, but then it doesn't matter. I could have lost every single one and go and win, or vice versa. So it don't mean no difference to me. But I'll be very confident. The fight 100% I want after this. The vacant British title's there. It would definitely get made for it with the 2 highest ranked at British level. Obviously, Cal's gone on.
It needs to be fought for as well, doesn't it? It's been sitting there for a while.
It's been sitting there since Charlie vacated it.
Yeah.
We've been putting in for it, so I don't know what the British board have got against me, to be honest. I don't really know what's going on. But he's got the Commonwealth. I've got my 2 titles, my European, my international, WBO. That vacant British, that's a fight. That's a good fight. 4 titles. And it makes sense for everyone. I can't see a reason why it don't get made. And if it doesn't get made after this fight, then it's because they don't want it, and that's it. So I'm going for it now. I'm going for it.
I presume, like you're talking about Tommy Frank, I suppose it at least gives Paddy Barnes a little bit of breathing space now, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was devastated for him. In one side of me, like I've said, I've aligned to before. There's kind of 2 sides to my personality. There's the Sonny, do you know what I mean? The dad, understands there's a life outside of boxing, but the Showtime side of me is you're in front of me, do you know what I mean? And even though Paddy Barnes obviously has 2 devastating losses now, I still think there'd be such an interest in that fight, whether it's in London, whether it's in Belfast, because the fight's been built for so long, and now he hasn't got no way back now after losing how he lost to Mahika.
You think he'll retire?
Maybe, but I don't think he's decided yet. Even though he said that in the ring, I think he's still hinting that there might be something else. But if he comes back, the only offer that's going to be on the table really is get a win against an even worse opponent than Mahika, and then Sonny Edwards' big fight, and that can surely be the only thing. Like, there's no other route, especially as they know that it's a fight very easy to make. I'll be there. It'll build a lot of interest. A lot of people tune in to watch it. That make no more sense. It's the biggest.
He doesn't like it, but it is a fight that British fans would enjoy. They buy into it.
When I first started mentioning it, I was the only one banging the drum. A few wins from me later, proper wins, a loss from him. All of a sudden, every interview he gets asked about me now. And I think that tells everything. Even the Frank Warren interviews, the Boxing Social, every platform they ask him. Hence why he's got a fight in 7 hours and he's doing an interview mainly about me. So it's like, look how the table have turned. And I've proved in the ring, yeah, I didn't have the amateur background like he did. I won 6 national titles, boxed for GB, beat a world champion, 3 times Olympian, but I didn't have the longevity that he had. But that longevity is paying dividends now, because now, for me, he's a shot fighter. Not living the life for too long, there's a load of factors. And him coming out after... He earned the Rosales a world title shot. He earned that from his amateur background, just like so many fighters. Maybe not in the pro ring, but do you know what I mean? I'll give my hands up there, and I always said that. And I was like, yeah, go on, have a crack at it. But to then come out after getting ironed out in 4 rounds and say, oh, I want a 6 round in another world title fight, it's like, are you kidding me? Like, that's a joke. Oh, I don't aspire to fight Sonny Edwards or domestic level or European level. I want to be a world champion. But that's not how this game goes. You can't just keep throwing at a dartboard and missing and keep having more darts. You know what I mean? Like, it don't work like that. You have to earn it. And now, the only way he'll get back to anything is through me, I believe.
Just changing the subject slightly, finally, is the Hungarian champion sort of off the menu now?
What, Barnes? Oh. No, I know who you mean. Well, he's been boxing at bantamweight. I'd box him at bantamweight. I'd box him anyway. He's terrible.
We're talking about your old adversary, Prince Patel, for those who don't know.
Yeah, of course. He's not interested. He's got a good sponsor that pays for his flights, pays for his opponents, gives him some money. He's not making... Well, that's the only money he's making from it, and I know that from basically the horse's mouth. You know, someone that dealt with him. So he's comfortable just not fighting no one, and I think he's going to try and do is just con a record to eventually one of these champions that he's ranked at WBO will be like, well, that's an easy fight, and just get him over. Do you know what I mean? And then he'll just get ironed out anyway. So
he has got a ranking now, hasn't he?
He has, and it kind of cheapens my one if I'm being perfectly honest. I feel like I fought for my one. Yeah, he's a joke artist, but it's not even worth mentioning because he's in Cloud Cookie Land. I remember he agreed to fight me last year, then turned around a month later and said he wants more money. More money was offered. Then he said he wanted double what the more money was offered, and then Frank Warren and the team just laughed at him. Like, he don't deserve it. Like, yeah, it'd be good to build up my career, but it's not worth that. Just get a proper fighter in that actually deserves to fight. He's in no rush to fight anyone soon. He'll probably be about 35-0 before he gets all. He's got a draw, hasn't he? But yeah, it's the same story of him. They just don't want to know, and you can't force. The worst thing about professional boxing is you can't force someone into the ring. In the amateurs, national title, you get to a certain stage, you pull out. And kind of admit, or you go, but there's too many routes, and that's the way around it.